Nobody takes the Ashford Road after dark. The locals know better. It runs 6 miles through Blackwood Forest, a stretch of dead elms and fog-covered fields that hasn't changed since the 1800s. No streetlights. No phone signal. Just the trees, the dark, and whatever lives between them. Mia Calloway was 24 years old and didn't believe in ghost stories. She'd taken the shortcut deliberately. Her GPS had rerouted her through Ashford after a crash on the motorway, and Mia, practical, logical, a first-year nurse from Leeds, saw no reason to add 40 minutes to an already exhausting shift. She had a half-eaten granola bar, a full tank of petrol, and a podcast about true crime playing through her speakers. Nobody takes the Ashford Road after dark. The locals know better. It runs 6 miles through Blackwood Forest, a stretch of dead elms and fog-covered fields that hasn't changed since the 1800s. No streetlights. No phone signal. Just the trees, the dark, and whatever lives between them. The forest closed around her car like fingers. The headlights pushed back just enough darkness to see the road, a pale gray strip between walls of black trees, their bare branches laced overhead like stitching across a wound. At mile marker 3, Mia's podcast cut out. Not a signal drop. Not a Bluetooth glitch. The audio simply stopped. Mid-sentence. And in that sudden silence, she heard something she could not explain. Mia accelerated. The footsteps, or whatever she was hearing, didn't return. She told herself it was the road. Loose gravel. Wind. The particular acoustic trick that old forests play on nervous drivers at midnight. Then her headlights caught the field. It opened up on the right side of the road without warning, a wide expanse of harvested farmland, pale and frost-covered under the moonlight. The kind of field that seems to go on forever. The kind that feels too open, too exposed, like something has been watching from the center of it for a very long time. Mia registered it in her peripheral vision and felt nothing. Scarecrows are normal. This was farmland. She kept driving. But at the edge of the field, just before the tree line swallowed the road again, something made her glance in her rearview mirror. The scarecrow was facing the road. She was almost certain, that when she first saw it, it had been facing away from her. Facing toward the distant farmhouse. She was almost certain of that. I told myself I imagined it, Mia said later, in the statement she gave to police. I told myself that for about 3 more seconds. Until I saw the second one. The second scarecrow was standing in the middle of the road. Mia stood on the brakes. The car fishtailed on the wet tarmac, tires screaming, and stopped 14 inches from the figure. In the full wash of her headlights, she could see it clearly. A post driven into the road, she would later learn it had been hammered into a crack in the asphalt. A crossbar. Burlap sacking stuffed with straw. A coat she recognized as coming from the farmhouse down the lane. And a face, a hand-stitched sack face, drawn in black thread, with both eye holes pointed directly at her windscreen. Mia locked her doors. Turned on every light in the car. Called 999. The operator confirmed police were 22 minutes away. 22 minutes is a very long time to sit alone in the dark on Ashford Road. She kept the engine running and the car in reverse, 1 foot on the pedal. She did not look at the scarecrow. She focused instead on the farmhouse visible through the trees at the edge of the field, a low stone building with a broken fence and a collapsed outbuilding. No lights. No movement. Abandoned, she assumed. Not with electricity. With a candle flame. A single trembling flame that appeared in the upper right window of the farmhouse and did not move for nearly 3 minutes. Then it moved toward the window. Mia said later that she saw a figure behind the glass. She could not describe it in detail. She could say only that it was tall, that it appeared to be watching her, and that it was holding something in both hands that she could not identify from that distance. The shape of it was wrong, she said. I know that sounds mad. But the way it stood there, it wasn't right. The proportions. Something about the way the arms hung. At 11 minutes past midnight, the figure in the window extinguished the candle. The field went completely dark. And Mia's backseat door, which she had locked, which the car had confirmed locked, swung open. She did not look. She has never looked back at what might have been in that back seat. She released the handbrake and reversed at speed for 200 meters, mounted the grass verge, spun the car forward, and drove without stopping until she reached the A17 and the first service station she could find. She was still running when she pushed through the glass doors. The cashier behind the counter, a teenager named Callum, called the police immediately because of the blood on Mia's hands. She had no memory of injuring herself. The wound was on her right palm. A clean cut, approximately 4 centimeters, consistent with a blade. Police attended Ashford Road at 12:38 a.m. They found the scarecrow still standing in the road. They photographed it, removed it, and searched the field and farmhouse. The farmhouse had been unoccupied since 2014, when its last tenant, a farm laborer named Gerald Price, had died of undetermined causes. Price had lived alone. He had reportedly developed, in the months before his death, what neighbors called an obsession with the fields at night. He was found by a postal worker still seated at his kitchen table, facing the window that looks out toward the road. The upper right window. The one with the candle. Inside the farmhouse that night, police found no evidence of a recent intruder. They found, however, in the middle room of the ground floor, a collection of 12 scarecrows, handmade, expertly constructed, arranged in a rough circle facing inward. Some of them appeared to have been there for years. Mold. Rot. One had partially collapsed. But 3 of them were new. Their straw was still fresh. Their stitching hadn't weathered. And their painted button eyes, black and too large for the burlap faces, were facing the window. Someone had been making them recently, the investigating officer told the Lincolnshire Standard 3 weeks later. We found tools. A workbench. Someone had been in that house within the last week, may be less. We don't know who. We found no prints, no DNA. Whoever it was, they knew what they were doing. And they were very careful not to leave anything of themselves behind. The case remains open. Mia Calloway moved back to her parents' house in Leeds the following month. She does not drive at night. She does not take shortcuts through rural countryside. She does not, she says, look in rearview mirrors after dark. Because I know what I'll see. 6 months after the incident, Mia received a letter. No return address. One sentence, printed in plain black type on white paper. I saw you looking at the house. I was looking back. She handed it to police. The paper was traced to a batch sold at a post office in Lincolnshire, the nearest town to Ashford Road. The envelope had been posted locally. No fingerprints. No DNA. The handwriting, or rather, the font, matched nothing in any database. The person who sent it was never identified. Ashford Road is still there. 6 miles. No streetlights. No signal. The fields are still farmed. The farmhouse was demolished in 2021, though locals say the foundations are still visible in the frost on clear October mornings. If you drive that road at night and your headlights catch something standing in a field, do not slow down. Do not look in your mirror. And whatever you hear on the gravel shoulder of that dark, narrow road, do not convince yourself it is the wind.